It's almost Valentine's Day, so in this video I'm going to show you how to make a wooden couple that actually clicks. You only need a few materials for this project. I use some softwood. The piece I've got is 44mm square. I also got some wooden balls, and these will be the heads of the couples later. I did make a mistake with these though. I didn't realise that the ones I ordered had a hole all the way through, but we can fix that later. And to fix the holes, I'm going to use some 8mm dowel. Now, as far as tools go, you'll need a handsaw, a jigsaw or a coping saw. I opted to use a coping saw on this one. You'll also need things like a drill, sandpaper, super glue, bits and bobs for marking out, and of course some paint. The first thing to do is have a look over the piece of wood that you've got. You want to make note of any large knots, because ideally we want to avoid these and we want to cut them away. So give it a look over, mark out the pieces you want to get rid of, and then we can cut off the sections that we don't want. Now for the first piece, I measured 20cm long. You can go with whatever size you like, but I think 20cm works well. So make your mark and then square it off using the handsaw as a guide. You can then cut that one to length. For the second piece, I'm going to make it a little bit shorter, and I'm just marking this by eye. And again, that gets cut off with a handsaw. If you'd like some tips on using the handsaw, then make sure you check out our Back to Basics video on the subject. You can find a link in the description down below. Now it's time to mark out the heart. Now I'm a terrible artist, I can't draw to save my life. So I marked it as best as I could, and I chose which line looked best to me, and that's the one I'm going to cut first. Like I say, you can use a jigsaw to cut this line out, and if you are going to use a jigsaw, then I highly recommend drilling holes wherever you've got tight turns. It just makes it much easier for the blade to turn. But as I say, I ended up using a coping saw on this one. It gives me a lot more control, and it just gives a cleaner cut as well, in my opinion. Once I cut away the bulk, I was able to come back again with the coping saw just to get it a bit closer to my lines. And as always, sandpaper smooths everything out and makes it look neat in the end. Once I was happy with the shape of the heart on the one side, I used it to trace it onto the other piece, making sure that it was flush at the bottom and at the sides. That way the two pieces should come together and meet up nicely. Again, this piece can be cut with a jigsaw, but I used the coping saw. Plenty of sanding. There is a lot of sanding in this project, but trust me, it's worth it. Get it all nice and smooth and remove any sharp edges. Now we need to make the couple click with magnets. I only used 2 magnets because these are really strong. So I first marked out on the shorter piece where I needed to drill a hole to glue the magnet in place. A little bit of super glue and hammering the magnet flush makes it nice and secure. I could then attach the second magnet and use it to leave a mark on the other piece. I made sure it was flush at the bottom and at both sides, gave it a few taps, and that gave me a nice indentation showing me where I needed to drill. So I drilled a little indentation, added the super glue and hammered the magnet flush. Remember to make sure that the magnets are glued in the right way round. We want them to attract to each other, we don't want them repelling. That gives off totally the wrong message. With the magnets in place, it's time for paint. Now I went with grey and teal as a bit of a contrast, but of course you can use any colours you like. While the paint's drying, I can turn my attention to the wooden balls. Now these are going to be heads, and when I ordered them, I didn't think that the hole went all the way through, so this was a real mistake. It doesn't give off a very good look, so I need to fill the hole somehow. Now I opted to do it with wooden dowels, so I cut wooden dowels to length, added some super glue and hammered them in so there was flush on the one end. Now if you made a better job of ordering the wooden balls than I did, ideally they wouldn't have a hole all the way through, but if you make the same mistake that I did, at least you know this is a way you can fix it. To secure the wooden heads to the bodies, we just need to mark centre on the top of the pieces, drill an 8mm hole, add super glue and then secure the heads in place. I'm really pleased with how these turned out. I like the contrasting paint colours. As I said, you can use any colours you like on these though, but I think the standout feature has got to be the magnets. Who doesn't like magnets? You've got a wooden couple that actually clicks. I think it works really well. My thought process for the magnetic couple was for you to be able to make them, send one off to your better half, because if you're anything like me, you might not have been able to see your other half with everything that's going on in the world at the moment. So I'll send it off, and then when we are able to see each other again, we've got a magnetic couple that clicks. I really hope you like this project, and I hope you like the video as well. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure you check the description down below because we've got the link to the Back to Basics handsaw video. And as always, make sure you're subscribed and click the bell icon next to it to get notifications as soon as we upload a new video. Thank you all for watching.